All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. Today is Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. My name is Bill Soroka. I am the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. And I'm host of the Side Hustle Lounge podcast, where we talk about legit business opportunities, mindset to be successful at them, and then how you celebrate your success through lifestyle design and adventure. I'm here with my two amazing co-hosts, Carol Ray, founder of Notary to Pro. Carol, how's it going?
It's exciting today because I actually have something to announce that's exciting.
All right.
The NNA, I wrote an article for them recently on marketing your business, and it came out today. They sent me the bulletin, and they also included something that I wrote back in 2019 that has to do what you can't do, what you shouldn't do as a notary. So I was kind of
Awesome.
excited for that.
That
Yeah.
is. What an honor. Congratulations. Do you have a link that you could post in the chat so we can share that with everyone?
I can. I'll go to it while you're talking. I'll go grab it.
All right. Sounds good. Our third co-host today is Laura Biewer, founder of CoachMeLaura.com. How's it going, Laura?
It's going pretty darn good. Today's one of those days when I teach exam preps for the NNA. So I did that this morning. I have a little couple of hour break, and then I'm going to leave here and go back and do the second round for the afternoon. And I have a couple of announcements. I guess we're all pretty busy right now. My first announcement is that every Tuesday I'm on Clubhouse along with Phil Shannon and Katrina, LaShawn Jenkins, Sue Hope, and we do a notary successful journey. And every week we check one particular aspect of that. Today it's separating yourself from the pack, and how we can use what we have, what's unique about us. So if you want to join us, go to Clubhouse and do that. I still do have some invites left. So if you download the app on your phone and then you let me know your phone number, I will be happy to extend one to you. My other announcement has to do with my next state-specific statutes and state-specific documents, real-world training. It's Texas, you're next. So on July 10th at 9 a.m. Central Time, yes, that is 7 a.m. my time, but I will be up and ready, and so will Bill. We will be hosting a group training on Texas-specific statutes, as well as actual documents that are Texas, as well as some other ones that you may encounter. And we just finished doing California. We had like 36 notaries on the phone or on the call. And if any of you are on today's call, and you might share what you thought about the training you received for the California specific, it'd be great. I'd love to see anybody who had a comment about that. I had people who are brand new to people who were almost as experienced as I am. And it was a great morning. And so every few weeks, another state is coming up. Texas is next. And if you want your state to have specific training for just your state, you're going to go to the link that Bill's going to put in the chat for me to put your state on the interested list, because that's how we're organizing or prioritizing. And we'll have some other states coming up. And as soon as we can be ready for whatever the next one is, we will announce it. So I hope I see people from Texas who are looking for state specific, as well as those documents. And that's what really I think is the most valuable part, is seeing documents and think, how do I deal with that? Because it isn't always so straightforward. So thanks for allowing me to share. I'm very excited about doing this, and thanks for participating.
All right. Yeah, that was great. And just a reminder that these are extremely limited seating. It's limited to just 35 notaries in the entire state of Texas. So if you're interested in that, you'll want to get on to that. You can just visit CoachMeLaura.com, and there's a link right from Laura's website with all the details on that. All right, awesome.
I'm sorry, Bill. Somebody asked the price, and the price is discounted. If you're one of my peeps, then you get a discount. So when you go on there, it's going to show you to use the coupon code PEEPS to get that discount. And it's going to take, I think, like $60 off the price for you.
I think it's $70 off.
$70. There you go.
off.
Wait a minute. What am I doing? Yeah,
Save another
$70.
$10. All right. Well, let's jump in. Laura, I'm so excited that you're doing this. There's so many notaries that always ask, but now what? I'm a notary, but now what? How do I actually do this work? And I have pages and pages of notes just from the California state specific training. So I can't wait for Texas. Okay. Let's jump in, guys. This is TNT. This is like an old-fashioned call-in radio show, except way more high-tech. We get to see you. The best way to do this is to raise your hand. Use the raise hand feature in Zoom. If you don't know where that is or can't find it, just type it into the chat. We have amazing notaries from around the country that'll help guide you in. And we'll just go down through the list. When we call on you, please unmute yourself. Tell us your name, your state, and the question that you have as directly as possible. If we need some backup information or background information, we'll ask for it for sure. All right, let's jump right in there. Kim, always a pleasure to see you. First hand up today.
Always a pleasure with you guys too. And I highly recommend Laura's state-specific training. It's fantastic. So I have a few questions today, and I think I'm going to pick on Laura again. This is regarding the stapling of documents. I have a few questions that popped up. The first thing is I want to confirm, if I understand correctly, that if we staple a loose certificate to a document and somebody removes the staple to make a copy, does that nullify or void the notarization?
No. It doesn't. They can just restaple it back.
Okay. Another question. So we're only stapling loose certificates. Is that correct? Or if somebody hands us like 7 pages, do we staple it all together? Or are we only stapling it if we're attaching a loose certificate?
Well, let me see if I understand you. If I have a loose certificate, I staple that certificate to the signature page of the document.
Okay.
That's what I staple it to. If they say, could you staple the whole thing, please? It's a stapler. I'm happy to do the whole thing.
Well, that answered one of my questions. So we're only stapling it to the signature page. That's great. My other question is, in loan signings, we don't staple the documents because they go through the copier and that kind of thing. If we're doing specialty notary work and somebody has been sent loan documents from their escrow officer and they just have called us to do the notarizations, those we know are still part of a loan package. So do we not staple loose certificates in that situation if we know that the special notary work is to go for a loan package?
Yeah, anytime you have a loan package, which means you've got one of these packages that are 100+ pages in it, that's going to a title company, I would not staple those documents. I would be sure to tie my certificate to each document by writing "See attached" on the signature page of the document. And then I would use a bottom section, or if there's not a bottom section for you, handwrite it in. This document belongs to this, there's the number of pages and the date, so that there's no way for them to use it for a different document.
So if we're doing specialty notary work and somebody just needs a deed done, and it's not really part of, you staple those. Okay.
Yeah, if it's just one anything but a loan package, I'm going to staple.
Okay, same thing with a trust then. My trust came in a binder, like a
right,
3-way binder. But if I have to attach a loose certificate, I should staple that to the signature page for trust documents.
If they did not provide you a good California certificate, I would staple it to the signature page, even though it's going in a binder.
Thank you so much.
We're supposed to staple everything. We're making an exception for one industry because we know there's a big issue there, but other than that, there should be no other exceptions.
Thank you so much.
And
wonderful.
Just to clarify, great questions. And just to clarify, Laura, for anybody who's thinking, oh crap, should I be stapling? This is a California specific type thing, right?
That is California specifically, says attached, and then the Secretary of State put out a newsletter after that says what we mean by attached is staple.
Perfect. Great conversation, Kim. Thanks a lot. And I'll see you later on this afternoon. All right, Jennifer Cooper, great to see you here too. I see you all over social media these days.
Oh, well, I'm in business, so you're not going to be able to hide from me.
What state are you in?
I'm in California. And my question is kind of is kind of open for any of you. My first full week working was last week, and I was really busy. And I realized by the end of the week, I had completely lost control of my schedule. And so I guess my question is there a scheduling method you prefer to kind of keep control of your life so it doesn't go off the rails like mine did last week?
What a great question. Carol Ray, what do you have any suggestions first?
Well, I keep two kinds of calendars. I keep an electronic calendar that reminds me constantly of my ever-growing phone calls and all the appointments that I have to do. It'll come up in my email, and you hear the ding on your computer. And I also keep a paper one, a big yearly thing that I keep track of everything, because I do a lot of mentoring. And so I've got calls like sometimes every half an hour for 2 or 3 hours. Just keep something on you, your phone, make sure that you can tie it up with your Google Calendar, and it'll remind you. If you have like a phone that you can set times to alert you, carry your phone with you all of the time.
Right.
And as an overall look, if you're just looking to, cut up your time for signings, do the same thing, but just make sure that you have enough warning in advance to adhere to that calendar. I don't know what else to add, but
Okay.
you can do it electronically and you can do it physically. And that way you're covered both ways to just give you reminders and setting it up.
Awesome. And I'll kind of piggyback on that too, Jennifer. So I do the same thing. I have an electronic calendar. I use Google Calendar because I love the color coordination that I can do on it. So I can choose what appointments are in person, on Zoom, on phone, or what signings. I put signings in red, so I know that's money. That's like non-negotiable.
Right.
But here on a bigger scale of that, let me finish where I was going with that. I've switched to evenings now. Every evening, I handwrite my daily appointments into an actual calendar. I use Michael Hyatt's Full Focus Planner, and back to that, I love it. But I write that out because it does something different in my head. Yeah, oh, good. That does something different for my brain. So it helps my brain know that my day is covered tomorrow. Like I know what I'm supposed to do. I sleep better and I wake up knowing what to expect. But then even bigger than that is, I think one of the traps was I used to try to keep my personal and business like separate. Like I would not schedule personal stuff.
Right.
So then that's the stuff that got pushed off. It's not on the calendar. It's not happening. So then my relationship suffered. Then the things and the hobbies, other things I care about started to suffer. So I'd recommend not doing that. Schedule everything on your calendar, a personal time with your spouse, with kids, reading a book time, staring at a wall time. I literally had to schedule everything because as a loan signing agent, opportunities are going to be bouncing all over the place. You're going to get one offer after another. And so I even want to pan up a little higher than this, and I bet Laura will have something to say on this too, is start with the end in mind. We've all heard that from Stephen Covey. I call it reverse engineering, like knowing what I want my day to look like first. And this was a lesson because in the beginning, you're just taking everything, right? You're just taking everything. And it can really be a trap. And then suddenly you're 4 years into this and you're working 12 to 14 hours a day and you're exhausted and you got a fat bank account, but you're starting to, your relationship.
Hate your job a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So figure out where you want to be. No, okay, I'm going to take 4 to 6 appointments today. If I get more than that, I'm going to have to turn them down and find power in turning down appointments, rolling them over into the next day. So it doesn't get too out of control. And it's a difficult, like, I'm not going to say that it's super easy to do because it's not, especially in the beginning when you're hungry and you want things and you want to build bridges. You might have to sacrifice a little bit in the beginning. You might have to learn what that balance is for you, but it will come.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that.
And the first time you miss a doctor's appointment because you didn't put it down, and they charge you $30.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
You
gonna pay
do learn to
attention.
put your
Yeah.
personal, you mix your personal and your business to include everything in your, so Bill's right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Laura, did you have anything that you might say on that? I know this is a passion of yours too.
I think Carol covered the how to schedule and the tools that are available, and there's a lot of them. And of course, Notary Assist and Gadget also helps do that. But I really just want to emphasize what Bill talked about, which is that bigger picture of one, make sure you block out times beyond the work that you're scheduling so you can see where I'm available for work versus where I'm available for other types of activities. And then even beyond that, what would I love my day to look like?
Right.
And that would be my goal. And, speak that to the universe. I would love my day to look like this. And then you'll start moving towards that direction and attracting that kind of day.
And Laura,
Fantastic.
do you include visits to your grandbaby?
My Fridays are all booked forever, ever on Fridays between 5 and 8 p.m. There are no assignments. You cannot pay me enough money. There are no exceptions.
My 30-year-old granddaughter just left on an airplane an hour ago to go back to California. We had her here for 4 days.
Thank you
Awesome.
guys very, very much. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so welcome. What a great question. And I just want to add something else to this too, because this is where efficiency comes into your schedule. If you don't want to pull your hair out in this business, you have got to systemize your business. So there's a certain number of things you're going to do before every appointment and certain things you'll do after every appointment. Don't try to fool yourself into saying that you're going to take care of it later on tonight. I'm going to send thank you cards tonight. I'm going to do my invoicing tonight when I get home. That's a trap. And I spent my first years doing it, so I know it's going through your head.
I'm
I'll get
ashamed.
to
I have
it.
a stack of thank you cards right here for all of last week that I did not get out. So
Yeah.
I hear you.
Try to build that in. Learn from our mistakes right now, because that would have been a game changer. I would have been way ahead of the game had I done that in the first few years of my business. But just finding those, sending the invoices, obviously, the thank you cards, whatever, close out the file. Just close it out so you can just be done and move on to the next one.
I want to add something.
Yeah.
That's happening to my students for sure. And that is the lack of documents and time for people to be on time for the appointments. And how do they work that into their calendar? And one of the things, because I hear this constantly, my appointment is at 4, it's 2:30 now, I haven't even gotten documents. And especially when they're new, they're not speedy with, getting things at the very last minute. So how do you handle that? And the way I handle it, or advise my students to handle it, is if they see that their documents are not coming when they expected them to, and they have to allow for either another signing or the time that it takes to get these ready, to always call the signer. I know that the lenders hate this, but true. Call them up and let them know, I'm so sorry, but I don't have your documents yet. I don't know when I'm going to get them. Our appointment is at 5:30. Are you going to be available, let's say at 7:30? Because they might have an appointment, at a later time. It's really important, because those things do really knock the heck out of our plans in our calendars. So I just wanted to throw that in for anybody who's new out there.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you did that, because that can really jam things up. And I agree with you 100%. I'm all about being proactive. Number one, I am nobody's employee, right? Like, I'm not just sitting around waiting for one set of documents to go out and service their clients. I am a business professional. So I own that customer. As soon as I get assigned to it, I own that transaction, that customer, and I want to communicate, over communicate, and do everything I can to find a way to yes. If you're looking for a way to get out of an appointment, you've got endless possibilities there. You can always find an excuse to cancel it. Oh, it's 2:30 for my 4 o'clock. I'm just going to cancel. If that's the way your schedule works, or if that's just the way you like to approach it, that's fine too. But there's always a way to yes. I always try to find out what their limitations are in their schedule. Hey, we're scheduled for 4. I don't have docs yet. Can we do 6? Can we do 8? Can we do 10? And I always look at my own schedule and pitch to make it fit in there. And then if it doesn't, they tell me their limitations, and then maybe I can finagle and move another appointment around and bounce it around. Maybe somebody can go early. Maybe the 6 can go at 4 instead. There is always a way to make that work. And then if there's nothing that you can do, and you can know that you gave 100% effort to try to make that work. And if it doesn't work, you just communicate that. It doesn't have to be. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When we were in Arizona, and Bill and I worked together for 7 years in Arizona, we had as many as 10 signings at the last of the month, on the last day of the month that
Yeah.
we signed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a nightmare, but we always found a way. We never missed an appointment, not one time. Even if we start at 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody was going to work at leave at 7, we could say, well, we could be there at 6.
Yep.
And you can always find a way around it.
Yeah. Love that. All right. Great conversation today. Soraya from California. How's it going? Am I saying the name right?
Soraya, can you hear me?
Soraya? Sure can. Hi.
Hi, Laura, I want to thank you for the California state specific class you gave. It was a lifesaver because I literally just took the exam a week before that. And what I love about it is that Laura goes into a lot of things that are not in like the handbook, like stuff that only someone with a lot of experience would know. So if you had the chance to take it, jump on it. So my quick question, just to make sure, the Modern Journal is California, it's okay to use for California as long as I use 1 entry per line, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. That was easy. Soraya,
Yeah.
thanks. All right. Diane S. from Florida. Thank you so much for joining us. You want to unmute?
Hi, guys. My first time talking here. So quick question. I had a client call me about notarizing some wills, and from Laura's training, I learned to ask if there was a signature underneath a notary spot after the witnesses, which he said no. So then he told me that they wanted to make them self-proving wills.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? I saw that there was like a form online. Laura, I'm signed up with you on Friday morning for our 2-hour talk for this, but he wants to do this on Thursday, so that's a day before my talk with you. So what do we do to make it self-proving?
Yeah, there is a self-proving affidavit
Okay.
that can be attached to the will, and that self-proving affidavit is what is notarized, and on it, the witnesses' signatures are notarized, sometimes also the will makers as well, depends on the form. And what that does is provide sufficient proof so that when the will goes to probate court, they don't have to go verify the witnesses, and it helps speed up that process. So that's what that's about.
Okay, perfect. Does the NNA have that form? No, well, I have to tell him to provide that form. I'm not going to get
That's
that.
right. The next part I'm going to tell you is that he needs to find the form
Okay.
to do that, because there could be more than one version, and it is not up to you to choose what version is the best for him.
Okay, fabulous. That's what I was thinking. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for being here, Diane. All right. Kristen Benbow from California. Great to see you. How come?
Hey, I got a couple questions. One of them is you guys have probably covered this a million times. There's when you print out a loan package, there's 3 notice of cancellation, right? So I have 6 now, right? So am I just having them sign and turning one of them back to the escrow and then leaving 2 with them, essentially 5?
So it depends.
Yes.
It depends. Go ahead, Carol.
No, if you have a notice of right to cancel that is signed by both people, both persons on one form, then they each would sign, that you make sure that they keep 4 copies executed. Each of them has to sign 2. Okay, so you've got 4 copies with both of them on it. They'll each just sign 2, execute 2 of them. So they retain those, and they will return only 1 copy back to the lender that's executed by both of them. If they each have their own separate one, then it just means there's additional. They're not going to be signing 5 copies. They're going to be signing 6 copies. 2 each executed to keep and 2 executed, one each back to the lender. So 6 copies if they're on separate and 5 copies if they're together on the document. Does that make sense?
Maybe we could revisit that. That's a lot. Is that on your website, Bill?
Yeah, we talk
Kristen,
about
there's a
that.
simpler way as well. That's going to be exactly what Carol said. And that is have them sign all of them. However many you got, just have them
That's
sign
easy
them all.
enough.
Sign every one of them and only
Got it.
send back what's required for the package and leave all the rest for them.
Got it. Okay,
However
I
many
can
that
remember
is.
that. Okay, and then pre-filling out forms, is that acceptable? Like the PCOR and these other, I have like trust stuff and stuff like that. I mean, this stuff takes 10, 15 minutes for them to fill out and they're running around looking, they don't know some of the answers. So I'm wondering if that's something I would call the signing service and ask, or escrow to ask, or just do it.
Well, we don't fill out forms, so I'm not quite sure I get what you're saying ahead. We cannot fill out our journal ahead in the state of California. You can fill out your certificate ahead, just don't
No.
sign and stamp. But what else are you looking to do ahead on the document?
But like the PCOR or like a trust document that I had the person fill out while I was at the appointment took 15 minutes.
If you
for
want to
them
send
to
those
fill
to
it
the
out.
if you want to send those to the signer ahead of time and be proactive, you can do that. I don't recommend asking permission. That's one of those things you ask for
Okay.
forgiveness later, but
Got it.
there are times when I see a bunch of tax information and I might send it ahead of time, or like Laura advises, do it after the fact. Like here, okay, so you don't have all the information you need to fill out the P-Corps. I'll leave a copy with you and here's the instructions on sending it over, or whatever document it is. That trust certification, you can tell them to have their trust folder there at the appointment sometimes. And that can sometimes help, but a lot of times they won't find it ahead of time. So
Right. Yeah. One of the pages the other day was like it needed to be notarized. So there was, I don't think I could.
you're
I
right.
could send it to them, but I can't, obviously stamp it until I get there. So
But you could tell them during your confirmation call about some of the things you will need from them, so they have time to go find the trust book or to gather information. I'd be careful about sending them documents, or make sure it's in a secure method.
Definitely.
Just email them because there's confidential information.
right, makes sense. Okay. And the last one is I'm going to do a POA soon here, and I was just checking your stuff, Laura, and then looking online just to make sure I don't need witnesses, but it said notary or 2 witnesses.
Is it a healthcare directive?
They just said a power of attorney, but it's for
It is
2 parents that were.
So in California, here's how I see it. The probate code says on advanced healthcare directives, it can be 1 notary or 2 witnesses. You don't have to have both. In a power of attorney, it depends on what's in the power of attorney. It may be just notarized, or it may be notarized and witnessed. It depends on how the attorney prepared it. And so, 50 million attorneys, 50 different ways to prepare it. There's no way, you have to ask. There's no way you can figure that out ahead of time.
Okay. Yeah, I think they were just going to go online somewhere. So I'll tell them to make sure that they know beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the
Thank
other thing
you.
too is they will sometimes, very often, I have an appointment tomorrow actually where it's 2 witnesses or a notary, and they want both. They're going to have 2 witnesses there and they want it to be notarized. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that.
Oh, okay. Coolio. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
great. Yeah, you got it. Hey, Henry. Great to see you on today. You want to tell everybody where you're from?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Henry from New York. Laura, I wanted to ask you a question. A lot of these affidavits inside of loan packages, I notice a lot of them, their notarial part would be on page 2, and the title for that actual affidavit would be at the bottom, very small. You can barely read it. I want to know if I can just write the name of that affidavit probably under my name or under the stamp, or do I need to actually do another certificate? Because I feel like there's a lot of room for fraud for that certificate.
Well, I don't know if there's a lot of room when it's part of their numbered pages, but there's nothing to prevent you from writing the name of the affidavit at the bottom of your certificate portion, because that's your area. You can.
Yeah, because they'll put it at the very, very bottom of the page, and it's real small. And I feel like if somebody covered up the name of it, they can use that certificate for anything.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, yes, you could.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, you got it. All right, Larry Greer, great to see you.
Hello.
Want to let everybody know where you're from?
I'm from California, and I also took Laura's training Saturday. And in fact, it saved my life for the signing I did today
Nice.
because of the ID section that she was so thorough in telling us about. And I got tricked into taking a multiple signings, like my first gang signing today. Not today, it was yesterday, actually. I got to the home and found out that there were, 7 signers and 3.5 kids to wrangle to get this thing done. And my initial thought was, I'll just write down the IDs and worry about it later. Let's get this done. But I remember the importance that Laura emphasized at the training about checking IDs to make sure that everything was right. So I channeled my 3rd grade teacher and made everyone line up, holding their IDs in front of them, tell me their name, and then I could check the IDs to make sure that they were all valid and everything. It was a signing that took like 3 hours. And at the end of it, a lady came up, like the grandma, I guess, of the family, and gave me a box of chocolate. She insisted on giving me a box of candy. And my question actually is, should I have taken it? I've always heard that we aren't supposed to take tips for anything. I've had one person offer me a tip and I told them no, but this is the first thing I've been offered. And I did take it just because I kind of didn't want to be rude. But I wonder, is there somewhere is there a threshold? Is there a value or some way that we can check if it's okay to take things that people are trying to give us?
If it's chocolate, I don't care what it is, I'm taking it. That's my bottom line. And I've been offered Starbucks gift cards. I've been offered boxes of chocolate. When I go out to the country, they've picked their fresh fruit and they have a basket of it and they've given me that. I've had banana bread. I mean, you name it out here. I've had a lot of those kinds of gifts. I don't really call them tips. I call them gifts. And I think it's perfectly fine. In terms of cash tip, if they round up, a lot of times they will round up and say, don't give me the change. I'm good with that. I stick it onto my travel. I declare everything for tax purposes, and I thank them very much. Now, is there a threshold? If they're offering me $1,000 tip when I did a $100 job, there's something wrong with that, right? So I think you need to balance out what you did and how much. If it's a little gift like that to thank you, it really should be token, right?
Don't take any moonshine from people living in Cave Creek, Arizona.
Learn that the hard way. I've had some great tamales though.
Oh, yeah.
Great tamales.
So it's okay to take things, sort of. It's not.
Well, I know there's a debate about this, Larry. There really is, and I think there's a valid point to be made on both sides. But here's where, like for me, I would draw the line. If I had to do anything, if there's anything weird about the appointment, they didn't have ID, they had credible witnesses, or there was just something fishy about it, and they want to be overly generous, I might insist not to take it. But a lot of times we're at appointments where people truly appreciate what we bring to the table. The fact that we are willing to come to a hospital or willing to take care of their family members at hospice at 10 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning. They're just very, very generous sometimes. So I think you have to use your own best judgment. And I always have Laura going through my mind. Will this stand up to Judge Judy? Could I stand up and defend this? Like, this is why this happened, and feel good about it, and integrity with myself. The challenge I think that we run into is we post things in Facebook forums and we get everybody else's opinion, and it's all might be valid and everything, but really we just need our own personal sense of integrity. And a lot of that will tie into your state laws too, if you have rules against it. So we have to say that too. But I think you've got to use your own judgment.
And just to add to what Bill said, the other thing is, when it's at the end of the service, you've already provided it. It's already done. And now they're giving you a thank you. How is that influencing you to do something, right? It's different if they come in and they're offering you stuff up front. Up front is a bribe. At the end, it's a thank you. Same thing with your kids, right? I mean, it's not good. I'll pay you if to do your homework. It's they do the action and then you thank them for doing the action. And I think where it's placed makes a big difference as well. And I love what Bill said about if there's anything funky going on during that time. I agree. Then it's like, let me just stick to business and I'm out.
All right,
But
thank you.
yeah, chocolate always acceptable.
Yes.
When you do,
Right.
when you do reverse mortgages, expect to have home baked cookies,
The cookies,
Bye.
the cookies.
right?
That's so true. So true. All right, Larry, thanks for sparking a great conversation as well. Phil, always a pleasure to see you on here. Phil, you've got some stuff going on today. What's happening?
Hey, Bill, thanks. I can get myself. It's great to see you. I'm looking forward to us finally getting together. I think we've canceled 3 times. And I think we got it scheduled for next week. So
It's this Friday.
This Friday. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
on my schedule, I promise you. But I'm looking forward to that. And as always, Laura, it's going to be great to do our little notary successful journey. I really appreciate that. And Carol, it's always great to see you and everybody here. But Bill, I appreciate you letting me come up very briefly. We do have a presentation that's going to happen right after TNT at 5 minutes after the hour, basically, or 10 minutes after the hour. Right after that, shouldn't go any longer than 30 minutes. We'll give a full overview of the services we provide that I've been providing to notaries for 15 plus years, and the way to generate additional source of income as well, and be open to answer some questions. Well, it's going to be hosted by Judy Lawrence from Pennsylvania and Larry Levin from Washington, D.C. And whoever would like to come, I'm more than happy to send you a Zoom link. Bill, I'll just put my number in the chat, and if people want to text me, I will text them the link to that presentation starting in about 20 minutes or so. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bill. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. If you're interested in joining, text Phil Shannon. I put the phone number in the chat. It's 408-821-2191 or 2198 if you're listening. All right. Thank you, Phil. Paula, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us where you're from and ask your question. Paula?
Are
There
you
you go.
talking to Paul? Well, I just signed on, but I don't have a question.
Okay, I think it's a different Paula.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, other Paula.
Thanks.
All right, Paula, we'll come back to you. I'll leave you up there. Apollonia, would love seeing you on today. What's going on in Illinois?
Hi, Bill. Hi, Carol. Hi, Laura. How are you guys? I missed you guys the past couple of weeks, so I've been super busy. But thank you so much for taking my question. This past Saturday, I had a signing appointment that was at 10 o'clock. I showed up, rang the doorbell at about 9:55. The gentleman invited me in. He offered me to sit on the sofa, and I said, "Oh, do you have a table that we can sit, sign at?" He said, "Oh, sure. But could you give me like 5 more minutes? I got to run upstairs really quick." And I said, "Oh, while you're at it, please grab your state ID or driver's license." He said, "Oh, sure. No problem." He goes upstairs, and as I'm sitting about 5 minutes past, I hear tub water running. Then I hear the shower water come on. And I was like, did he just get in the shower?
Can we go back to the typewriter though, Apollonia? He had a typewriter?
No, he took a whole shower. And so I said, okay, I'm just gonna sit. I'm gonna give him to 10:15. So He came down, it was like maybe 10 minutes later. He came down, hair drenching wet and everything. Cause I'm like, there has to be somebody upstairs. He did not just take a shower on me. So my question to you is, what do you do in those scenarios? What do you do when someone takes a whole shower on you at the time of your appointment?
Ooh, Carol.
I
You've
can
seen it
answer, what do
all.
you do when somebody answers the door naked?
Well, you and
But-
I have that one covered.
But the shower, I don't know. I think I might have, depending on my schedule, I think I might have left a note. Call me when you're ready for your appointment.
And you know
I
what?
mean, how rude.
Luckily, exactly. But luckily I had time. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to give him until 10:15 and I'm just going to see and wait. And so he eventually came back down and I was just kind of, I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything, sorry or anything. And I'm just, at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, come on, we have to get started. You know, we got to get started.
Yeah.
But is it okay to leave? Is it like, what do you do?
Laura, what do you say?
I don't think it can be repeated here on TNT. That would be a very private conversation between me and that signer.
Okay.
I'll tell you, for me, it's Apolloni. I think you handled it exactly as I would have, and I have many times. People have different rules of etiquette, I suppose, is the way to do it, on what they consider polite. Some people are just oblivious to the fact that there's other people in the world. And I used to take it really personally. Like, do you would devalue my time so much that you would, you make it and it's real easy to fall into that trap. But I would hate my work if I took everything like that personally, because just people have their own things going on. So,
Right.
but I respect my time. So I would set the time limit, and he hit it right at the right time. And it's weird how it works, but it always seems to work out. Like, I'll set a 10:15 time limit, and at 10:14 and a half, they walk into the door, and I have to calm myself down. Like, how is this going to come across? And then you just get super efficient, right? They sacrifice a little bit of the fun of the appointment. Like, it's just going to be all business now, right? I don't have time for chit chat. I don't have time. I'm going to withhold some of my jokes. Now this is just going to be stamp and seal, right?
Exactly.
That's how I handle it now. But there are some instances when people are just blatantly disrespectful. And I think you have to respect yourself and your profession. And if somebody is leaving you hanging for an hour, they think you just have all the time in the world, it is perfectly acceptable to, if you can, leave a note like Carol said, or send an email. Just said, I can tell you have other things going on. When you're ready, I'm here to be of service. And I have had to do that with loan signing appointments and medical directive appointments too, like those estate planning that are kind of urgent, but urgent means something else to other people. They've got other things going on. So I think that would be totally acceptable.
Norma Riggs said something, right? She said, maybe you should be very happy he took a shower because you don't know what you might have gotten.
That's a great way of looking at it. That's a great way of looking at it. The universe protects you.
So next time when I start confirming, I'll just be like, make sure you're showered and dressed before your appointment.
We're going to have 1,000-point checklist just to confirm an appointment.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you, Apollonia. Hey, Paula, are you ready? Paula number 1 or Paula number 2, the other Paula? All right, we'll come back to you. Lewis, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute? Oh, hey, Paula's ready. All right, hold on, Lewis. How's it going, Paula?
Okay, I have a question about, I'm sorry, I'm from Ohio.
All right.
And I have a question about this document, notice of availability and offer of closing protection coverage.
Oh, yeah.
I always have everybody always have a question about this document, and they're always asking, why are they asking, why do they have to get more insurance? More coverage. Why do they need more coverage?
Yeah, it's a confusing document for sure. And they don't have to do anything. So that's number one. It's completely optional. So that's one of the ways that I like to just highlight and say, and let them know that there's this optional insurance. In fact, in some cases, and you can tell if you look at the settlement statement, you'll
Mhm.
see if it's already included. So you can say the lender has already included the closing protection letter for an additional $25. So if the title company or the transaction would otherwise close or not close for whatever reason, there could be some additional coverage and protection for you on that. It's an extra $25. Do you want to leave it on there or do you want to decline it?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Where you have to be careful with it is on the cash transactions, where there's no lender, then the lender can't include anything because there is no lender, and they literally have to make the choice. If they want the closing protection letter, that means they're going to have to redraw the settlement statement, maybe the closing disclosure. So it's a big decision on that. So it's important that you let people know.
Okay, and I have another question.
Sure.
Okay, like I said, I'm in Ohio, and in February, I became a Ron, but I'm just having a hard time trying to get on a platform and, start doing remote online notaries and e-notarizations too. I haven't started yet.
Okay.
Because, a lot of platforms didn't take Ohio, Ohio wasn't. The only ones that take Ohio is Signex and DocVerify, which is very expensive. So I just don't know where to begin.
So, well, I mean, if that is, if your evaluation of Ohio is accurate and you only have two options, then you only have two options. That helps, actually, that might help you out a little bit. I think there's more available to you. And I would recommend getting dialed into John Holder over at ronuniversity.com. Get dialed into a community of other people who are doing this in Ohio. I know there's a great Ohio notary community that might help shed some light. There might be people on this call right now that are in Ohio who have found a platform for Ron. There's some really cool new emerging ones that are real notary centric. They're inexpensive. They're pay per use sometimes. So there could be a lot more options at your disposal. Just get dialed into that community there. And I would type your email address into the chat here, so maybe somebody can connect with you there too. Or go to Ron University and get John's help that way too. The other thing is anybody who's considering remote online notarization, remember that's a whole other service wing. And just getting your certification for Ron, just getting on a platform doesn't necessarily mean your phone's going to start ringing and dinging with Ron, especially for mortgages. It's just not taken off like they thought it would in mortgages yet. It'll eventually come. But right now, if you want to do remote online notarization, it's probably going to be heavily specialty notary work or general notary work. And in order to get that phone ringing and dinging, you have to do relationships and search engine optimization on your website. So your digital presence is out there. So customers who want that service can find you.
She has another resource, if I might add. Paula, there's somebody who's he's a very, very good friend of mine for years. He started the Ohio Society of Notaries, and he is a great resource. His name is Roger Reel.
Yeah.
You'll have to look up the number. It's the Ohio Society of Notaries, and he loves mentoring people in Ohio. So, in fact, for our graduates, he offers free mentoring to any Ohio graduate.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're so welcome, Paula. Thanks for being here.
All right.
All right, Lewis. Thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in.
I'm in Illinois. I'm in Chicago.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Good. How can we help
so
today?
this, I'm at a bit of a dilemma, and it's kind of going to be a lot to unpack. But you kind of just went into it a little bit when you said something about search optimization and stuff like that. For me, I'm definitely into the specialty notary work. Great. And the dilemma that I'm at is as far as marketing and networking and things like that. I'm having trouble with that because networking, I look at it as more so something that favors extroverted type of people. And I'm not really an extrovert type person. I'm not a social butterfly. I can't go out and just start conversations with people that I don't know at all. So that becomes a challenge for me. And when I was looking up ways for introverts to, have some kind of networking skills, I guess, the things that I came across was stuff like how you just said, just search optimization, where people was finding you. And when I got to that part of building a digital presence, I came into the challenge of, okay, I have a Facebook, I have Instagram, I'm on Nextdoor and I'm Alignable, but it's like, what kind of content can I put out? Because I don't really have anything to really post or say or talk about, being that you're brand new. So what kind of value can I add if I haven't had any really experience with it?
Yeah, what a great question, Lewis. So we will unpack that for a minute here. This is a common problem, and it definitely is relatable for me because I am an introvert. I cannot do cold calls. I can't just randomly knock on doors. I had to find a way to make this business work with my personality and with my fears and with my interests. I just didn't have an interest in doing small talk, and I felt kind of slimy going in and stuff. And of course, that's just all the stuff that's in our own head. It doesn't have to be slimy. It doesn't have to be salesy. And when I finally started getting into that and dialing in my system, that's when everything changed in this business. So first, let's talk about ways that you can connect and build relationships. And the question that changed my life, Lewis, was instead of going into meetings or connecting with people, trying to introduce them to my business or sell them something, it was to ask them how I can support them in their business. How can I support your business today? That changed everything. I can have those conversations. I can talk to strangers about how things I can do to help them. I don't mind that at all. And then, of course, when you ask that question or tell me more about your business, then they do all the talking and you just sit back and you listen and you can support them that way. You can do those conversations online too. It does not have to be in person. It can be on LinkedIn. It can be in email. It could be wherever you're finding them. That leads me to the next point is, rather than just blasting out or just finding random people and trying to connect, slow down and research them. Put in the time on the front end of the relationship to do a little bit of research. Check them out on LinkedIn. Do they look like somebody you might like? Are they hustling? Are they doing things that you want to be a part of? Is there some low-hanging fruit? Did they go to the same school, live in the same city, work in the same industry? Whatever it is, you can find ways to kind of connect those dots. That's one of the superpowers of an introvert, is we observe things, we see things, and we can see the way things connect more than others. Sometimes you can use that to forge these relationships. And then when it comes to the search engine optimization and the digital presence, you're doing great things so far, but there's more to it. Keep going with the directories and keep NAP in mind, name, address, phone number, on consistently throughout all of your profiles, your LinkedIn profile, your signingagent.com, 123 Notary, all of them. If there's a free directory listing out there, you should be on it. Maybe it's not going to generate business from that directory, but it's going to help boost your search engine optimization. It's going to give you street cred on the internet to help more customers find you. And then when it comes to your content, you absolutely have something to talk about. You can share Secretary of State's newsletters, anything that the government puts out about state IDs, about notarization. The National Notary Association pumps out tons of content. When you read something from the NNA, it might be directed at notaries, but think about the impact to your customers and then rewrite it, own it. Add your own perspective on it. Here, the federal law is saying this for your new IDs or whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be a 10-page dissertation. It can be a social media post or a quick blog post. but there's content everywhere that you can repurpose. And then when you share your passionate journey, share your appointment, share your experience, speak to your ideal customer, which in your case, it sounds like is not other notaries, it's people who need your services. So make sure you gear that towards being of value, bringing value to that relationship. Okay, that was a ton. Did that help at all, Lewis?
Yeah, that definitely helps. I just actually have just one more question. Then is piggybacking off the last thing that you just said. So with on a social media, as far as people I would add, would I go and I add people, or like how would I do that as far as, because of course I know I know how to work social media, but it's different like on the building a business side. So am I just going just adding just random people and stuff like that that's in the, I guess that would help my business, like as far as the clients will go and stuff like that. Because I was thinking, okay, in my mind, I'm thinking I have to go and add people like probate lawyers and, just going online, looking up probate lawyers and seeing if they have any social medias and just adding them on that, even though I don't know them. Like
well, yeah, great question. And this is a big challenge. And really anybody who wants to grow this, I recommend the book I wrote with Sandra Long, Supercharge Your Notary Business with LinkedIn. Start with LinkedIn. That's where ideal customers are for a notary public. But you want to curate your network. You just don't want to friend a bunch of random people and just go through and not connect with them. You want to be really strategic with it, and you want to be personal. So you'll see it all day long on LinkedIn. People are friending. They don't give any message or anything. That's not how you build relationships. You want to get really specific. Check them out. This is what goes back to the research I talked about. Check them out on LinkedIn. Just send them a message. Hey, I see you're really passionate about helping seniors. That's a passion of mine too. I hope we can connect. Something that quick and easy can be the difference maker on whether they accept you or not. And then the key is, if that's your ideal customer, then deliver content that they might be interested in. And you can you can geek out on estate planning documents, estate planning industry. I guarantee you it's there. They have whole organizations for it. So you can take little tidbits and you can speak about your experience and how you cultivate relationships or represent them. It's not something that you're just born with. It's not something that you just read from a book necessarily. You've got to tinker with it and practice it. Put things out there. Some of it will land, some of it will completely miss, and some of it will be pretty slow going, but you just got to keep moving forward with it. And always keep in mind, value. It's not about advertising your business. If every post is just you advertising your business and your services, people lose interest in that. You want to provide value. You want to get people excited about something, interest them or entertain them. And then every now and then you sprinkle in an advertisement.
Okay.
All right, Lewis. Helpful.
That definitely helps. I'll hold back for now until later on for another time for another question. But that definitely helped a lot, because I've been sitting back having moments where I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything because I just got caught up in the dilemma of what to do and how to do it. But that'll help. That gives me something to work towards.
Here's Lewis. Check out my free advanced course called Morning Mastery for Mobile Notaries and Loan Signing Agents. It's totally free. It's right on my homepage at notarycoach.com. But it is the daily dues, the daily habits that I did to boost my revenue from $1,000 a month to $20,000 a month. And it's doing exactly this. It's just taking little tiny bites every single day so you can grow your business and relationships.
Okay. Is that the Facebook page or?
No, that's notarycoach.com.
Oh, okay. On the homepage of notarycoach.com.
Yeah, right there. And then you can get into Morning Mastery for mobile notaries and loan signing agents.
Okay.
All right, Lewis, thank you so much. Carol, we talked a lot about search engine optimization there. How are you?
I'm learning.
Anything that you'd like to close us out with? Because we've been here for an hour already.
I love this hour. I really do. No, just everybody stay safe, enjoy life now. It's getting back to normal in a lot of places, which I'm very grateful for. I'm sure a lot of people are. So just enjoy life.
All right,
and love
great
your family.
advice. Thank you, Carol. I love spending this time with you guys too. Thank you to all of you who tuned in today to grow yourself and your business on the Tuesday. We really appreciate it and we love hanging out with you. We'll be here same time, same place next week. See you later.
Bye-bye.